So, to save the B-roll of me just sitting here bent over this fender all day, I have hooked up the trans lines. I have ran the wiring under the truck and back up to here. The computer's plugged in. All these wires over here that you see, these plugs, these are where your washer bottle and stuff is that you don't need. Well, you're not even going to use. You can't because there's no washer bottle. There's no windshield wiper squirters. We do have wipers, but no squirters. So, let's see here. This side, I still have to do this fuse box mounting somehow because they're kind of really hard to do. We have to run this wiper plug into the cab to hook to the wipers. We should have did that before we welded it all the way, but we'll drill a hole and put a smaller grommet on it. It'll be good to go. Again, we're extending the battery cables back here. I am getting ready to put on the bottom radiator hose. The top AC hose here line goes right here, no biggie. The bottom one is actually right here. So you can't see that, but it's down there, and it should still be able to work pretty easily. Got the fenders in the back. They usually just flap free. They're welded, so that's good. Let's see what else has to be done here. Trying to get a lot done before I leave tomorrow to go to Rod Run. After that's done, I will probably start working on the interior stuff, trying to get that all square. Oh, I might make some mounts to mount the front end after I put the hood on to make sure the hood works. But I might not because it's going to take two to do that. The AC is literally a finger, a middle finger tip thickness away from the fan, which is great because it will suck in a ton of air to keep this thing running cool. V8s in these trucks don't use electric fans very well. They tend to overheat with the electric fans, and we've had them as far as, I think we've had them all the way up to 2800 CFM. Still wouldn't do it. Still wanted to overheat. But we're getting there. This is the stage when the front end and everything's on that we'll start moving really fast, because literally the hardest part is getting the cab square, getting the front end square. Everything else is butter. I mean, we got to cut the frame, which we now know is 23 inches. 23 inches. That's a big cut. But yeah, it's all coming together real fast now. Man, my hair's always jacked up. It's alright. But after this crap's done, the hardest part to come next, which isn't really hard, it's just there's not a lot of room to work, is running the harness for the dash up behind the old dash, and then your steering column. Sometimes, let me repeat myself, sometimes we actually have to cut the steering column down. Where's the steering column? It's back here. La, 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 la. But you can see how short that steering column is, yet sometimes we have to cut them down. This one, I don't know. We'll find out. We have to put the gauges in, which we're using the Dakota gauges, but oh, I have to finish the bottoms of these doors. That's what else I gotta do today. Yeah, so I'm skinning out at 8 though. Gotta get up early. Gotta hit the road. I'm getting back at it. So what I am doing at this point is I am removing the carrier bearing that goes across the frame, and it's actually in a real tough spot to get to, and it's riveted on. They don't bolt them on. So I have to plasma and chisel off the rivet heads to knock it loose and drop it off. It's a pain. It took forever to get to, but it comes off, so that way we can start cutting the frame out. So the frame section you see is where we're going to cut, and it's a pretty big cut at 23 inches. It is a monster cut. Scott tends to cut these better with the cutoff wheel, death wheel, whatever you prefer to call it. And then usually, sometimes we'll also use the Sawzall, but I suck with the Sawzall. I snap them blades real quick, and I'm just terrible with it. We don't use the plasma on the frames because the cuts it makes is terrible to weld back and grind and make flat. So you have way more control with the cutoff wheel and the Sawzall. Cause I am coming back, and I know someday I'm gonna make it better.